Good evening, everybody. Opening items, call to order.
Good evening. Trustees present tonight are Trustee Contreras, Trustee Arellano, Trustee Castillo, Trustee Calderon, and Trustee Aviña. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Item 2, Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Lisa Price, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Presentations. We have an LCAP mid-year report.
Yes, thank you, President Aviña. Today we have our Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services, Ms. Elisa Ramirez, who will present to us our annual required LCAP report. Ms. Ramirez.
Good evening, Board, Superintendent Jimenez. My name is Elisa Ramirez. I'm the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services, and today I'm going to present the mid-year LCAP update. So this presentation is required by Senate Bill 114. And during this presentation, well, first of all, it has to be done prior to February 28 of every year, which is about the middle of the school year. And in this presentation, we have to include the mid-year outcome data that is related to the metrics that we've identified in the LCAP, our current LCAP. In addition, the mid-year expenditure and implementation data of all the actions that we have identified. No quiere. Where? Okay. So there's a section in the LCAP that's the very first document that we put that's called the budget overview for parents. And on this budget overview, we identify our total LCFF funds, which is a little bit over 125 million. And out of those funds, 37 plus million are identified under the supplemental and concentration grants. This is the budget that we use as we develop the LCAP. In another section, we include the rest of the revenue, and we identify how much has already been spent and what's remaining. So you see at the top, you see the 125 million that I just spoke about. So we spent already 46 million as of December. So right now that amount has already changed. And then the blue is the one that is for the LCAP. That's our supplementary and concentration funds. And then we have other funds that we inform our community of, which is our state funds, our local funds, our federal funds, and then you see the total projected revenue for the district. So the mid-year update has to include our metrics. We have many metrics in our LCAP. I think I had over 80 last time I counted them. And there are data that we already know. There are some that is unknown, and then there's others that are in progress. So as you review the plan, on the very far right of every metrics, I identify whether it's already end of year data that's no longer changing or if it's still in progress. So for example, if it's a metric related to SBAC and scores came out in 24-25, well, that one's finalized, right? It says what our scores are. But if we have to do a survey like the California Healthy Kids survey that right now is currently in progress, we won't have that information updated, and it says outcome is in progress. Same as our attendance and other things that we monitor on the year. Some data is for current year. Other data like state assessments are a year behind. Data on the dashboard, for example, there's one on teacher credentialing. That's like 2 years behind, but that's just how it's presented to us. For the expenditures, same thing. If there's actions related, for example, to summer school, well, it hasn't started yet, right? But if it's already in progress, we're already spending our funds, it'll say in progress. And if there's funding to buy, purchase, for example, a program, it's already been purchased and it's completed. Our LCAP originally was only for LCFF funding. And then within the past 2 years, the state is now requiring us to put some actions related to state funding. So it's no longer just for LCFF. So our first 6 goals that are related to LCFF, well, the first one is related to curriculum instruction and assessment. So we fund all the activities related to that. Goal 2 has an emphasis on technology. So anything that we tools, infrastructures, anything we pay for technology comes out of Goal 2. Number 3 is everything on portrait of a graduate. So college trips, college and career activities, what else do we have? Credit recovery programs. All of that comes out of Goal 3. Goal 4 is pupil engagement and school climate, PBIS, attendance, FRC, support. All of that comes out of Goal 4. 5 is parent involvement. We have, we purchase incentives for our parents. We fund our LCAP community forums out of that goal. And so every site has fundings under that goal. 6 is on safety. So safety covers anything related to health services, including staffing. So in almost all of these goals, staffing is supported too. 7 is a new goal that started a couple of years ago, and that is most of the schools that qualify for those are alternative education schools. So our Aurora Continuation or Aurora High School has equity multiplier state funds, and the metrics we use is measuring attendance and the ELA and math standards and our EL progress and so forth. So those are state funds. And then recently, they asked us to include our LREBG, which is our Learning Recovery and Emergency Block Grant funding. We started receiving that funding like 3 years ago. And we had already developed a plan that the actions in that state funding are aligned to our current LCAP goals. And so when they asked us that we had to now put this funding in the LCAP, we decided to, instead of embedding it within the goals we already have, we created our own goals. And so now you see Goal 8 is on the Learning Recovery and Emergency Block Grant. So what have been our outcomes? So in looking at all the data and doing an analysis, these are the things that we noticed. We had an increase in student academic performance for the majority of our student groups based on ELA and math SBAC, Science CAST, and ELA in the CAST. 72% of our students in ELA and 65.3% of our students in math improved score from the prior year. We had a decrease in the number of points below standard in ELA and math. Now, our goal in the California dashboard is to get closer to level. Right now we're below, but we're getting closer to it. We had a decrease in the negatives. We had an increase in ELA and math I-ready performance from fall to spring 2024-25. We had an increase in reclassification rates, number of students achieving levels 3 and 4 in the LPAC, and the California Dashboard English Learners Progress Indicators. That indicator tells us how many students jumped a level, whether it was from level 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, or 4 to 5. We had an increase in California Dashboard College and Career Indicators for our EL student group and our Homeland student groups. We had an increase in the number of students enrolled in dual enrollment classes. So these are students achieving college credit courses. An increase in the majority of our students in obtaining our seal of biliteracy, and our EL department ladies, coordinators informed us that Calexico has one of the highest rates in the valley in students achieving the seal of biliteracy. We had a decrease in chronic absenteeism with the majority of our student groups. Our attendance rates, we maintained them around 91.4%. I think last year we were at 91.3, so it's just a minor difference. And our P2ADA is about the same as the previous year, 93. Graduation rates, we maintained them around 92%. California was at 87.8, so we surpassed the rate that California has. AP exam scores with students passing with a 3 or higher, we are at 72, so it's very similar to last year. Our dropout rates went from 5.6 to 5.4, and our suspension rates went from 3.1 to 1.7. We had an increase in the self-reflection tool that we provide our parents. The highest score is to get 5, so we've been receiving 5s from that parent survey. And we also had a lot more parents participating in committees. So we went from the 12% of the parents responding that they participated in a school committee to 17%. These are our school site council, community schools, and so forth.
I'm sorry, real quick.
Yes.
Because on the second decrease in chronic absenteeism rates from the majority of the student group, is that a good decrease or a bad decrease?
The decreasing is good. So decreasing is good. I think the only student group that did not decrease, I believe it was our foster youth. Okay. So moving forward, our district is still working through some of the challenges such as declining enrollment, increasing academic performance at higher rates for all student subgroups, increasing LPAC level 4s because we need a level 4 in order to increase our reclassification rates, and improving attendance. So those are the things that we have to continue working. Not that it's not getting better, but we want to get better at higher rates. So despite these challenges, Calexico Unified District is committed to implementing the LCAP to provide the necessary services for our students. And we do acknowledge and thank all of the hard work and dedication that our employees, our parents, and our students, right, are doing to be able to achieve this excellence and this growth. We are meeting with our different educational partners. This is LCAP season for me, and so we just held our first parent forum on February the 10th. We were at Cesar Chavez Elementary, and we covered goals 1 and 2. This coming Tuesday, we're going to be at Mains Elementary. We start at 5 p.m., and we're going to be reviewing goal 3, which is college and career, portrait of a graduate, and then goal 4, which is student engagement. So we're going to go over attendance and all of that information. Then the following week, on February 24th, we're going to be doing the rest of the goals. And then you see there all the other educational partners that I meet with, including going to ICOE for some of the required meetings. And then after that, you're able to see all of the goals and all of the metrics, which we're not going to go into right now, but you can view them at your own time. Are there any questions?
Just a comment. Well, great presentation, Elisa. But just got my attention the attendance rates.
Mm-hmm.
So maintain 91.4 and 93% P2, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so for the whole school year, that's approximately the average?
Yeah, we were checking the data today to see how much we're at, because we don't have P2 yet, but we broke it down. And for example, the elementary 1st through 6th is at 93.8 right now. The junior highs are around 92%. The TK Kinder are the ones that are a little bit lower. And so we are already looking at that data, and that's just raw data, not including all the Saturday schools and attendance recovery that has been taking place. So
Okay.
so that is still taking place.
Yeah, okay. I guess just a conversation for later. No, let's look at the attendance. It's super important, right?
Yes.
We want kids in their seats.
You want students learning, and we want the funding also to be able to provide all the services that we want for our students.
Exactly, yeah.
Mm.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Moving on to item 2, another presentation, impacts of declining enrollment and possible school consolidation presentation.
Thank you, President Avena. So today, together with our executive cabinet, we're going to provide a presentation on some of the challenges that we're currently experiencing throughout the state of California, with very few exceptions. Most school districts in the state and throughout the nation are experiencing the same challenges that we're experiencing here in Calexico, but it's come to a point where we really need to start talking about this a little bit more intentionally, and more transparency about the challenges that are happening with student enrollment. Like I said, throughout the state, but for us, we're focusing and looking here at our school district here in Calexico. Back in December, we provided a very, very similar presentation to the board using the data from our last demographic study that we had conducted. We use a professional firm that specializes in these studies, and they had conducted a study for us that gave us our enrollment trends from 2019-2020 all the way to 2025-26 this school year. So this year being the last year that study covered, earlier this school year, 6 months ago or a while back, we commissioned this study for the next 5 years. And unfortunately, our trends of declining enrollment are projected to continue. You'll see right now in a little bit that the credibility of these numbers is very, very high. In our last study done by the same firm, their margin of error was within 1%. So if they said that by the year 2021, 2022, you're projected to have X number of students, they were within a 1% margin. They were just by a handful of difference up or down. And you'll actually see the actual numbers of what the projection was and how close to the real numbers. 1 year that you'll see in a little bit, it was exactly the number that they had projected 5 years earlier. How they do that, I don't know, but they know how to use formulas and equations and how to look at birth rates and migration shifts and all that sort of stuff, and they come up with these numbers. So we're gonna share this information because we believe that it's important to be transparent with our community, to work based on being honest about what we're doing, the good and the bad, right? The good things that are happening and sometimes not the good things that are happening. This is something that it's really through no fault of anyone. This is not a bad thing because someone is doing something bad. It's just a declining in enrollment that we're experiencing as I said, in most districts in the state of California. You'll see that we're projected to decline eventually by the year 2031, 2032 to the low 6,000s. That's from a high mark of about 10,000 students to the low 6,000s in the past, over the next 5 years and next 5 years. So, or in about a 10-year time period, we're looking at about in the high 9,000s to the low 6,000s. So obviously this just forces the question, right? How do we make adjustments for that, right? We can't continue. It's not sustainable to continue doing what we're doing when we have 6,000 students as if when we had 10,000 students. We get funded by how many students we have and how many of those students go to school every day, as we just talked about attendance. So we're going to provide you these numbers. We're going to show you this hard reality. It's not an easy discussion to have. It's a difficult conversation to have, but it's a needed conversation to have. So I'm going to ask our executive cabinet, Mr. De La Torre, our Assistant Superintendent of Business Services, Ms. Elisa Ramirez, our Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services, and Mr. Guerrero, our Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources and Risk Management, if they could approach the podium and provide the data in this presentation.
Good evening, President Avina, trustees, Superintendent Jimenez, colleagues, and community. Again, my name is Luis De La Torre. I apologize, I'm a little under the weather, but I'll try to get through this. As Mr. Jimenez had mentioned already, the majority of school districts across California have continued to experience declining enrollment. And at Calexico, we're not exempt from that. Throughout the county is also not exempt from declining enrollment. At a previous board meeting and at other board meetings, we've discussed declining enrollment and what causes declining enrollment. And there are many, many, many factors. Mr. Jimenez already touched upon some of those. One of the things that we have seen data show is that we're experiencing the lowest birth rates over the past 100 years. So individuals are no longer having as many children as they were before. Right now, the current estimates, as Mr. Jimenez mentioned, right, these are demographic studies that are done by professionals, taking data and factors and extrapolating it and kind of looking to see what the crystal ball tells them towards the future. But right now, declining rates are projected through 2032, and this is across our county, across the state, across our country. And then they see after 2032 a modest increase all the way up to 2042. So these long-term studies, as Mr. Jimenez had mentioned, have been pretty spot on. So that's what we're currently seeing. Other factors that are impacting declining enrollment, and again, no news to anyone, is due to the high cost of living, right? In Calexico, one of the factors that we have is there's not enough housing in Calexico for folks to be able to move into Calexico. We're just not growing at the same rate as other cities within the county. High energy prices, high taxes. We're very close to Mexicali, Mexico. We're very close to Yuma, Arizona. And we know that some folks choose to leave the state of California and may continue to work among us in Imperial County, maybe even in our own school district. Oh, sorry, let me go back. Can you take me back to the first one? Sorry, I clicked before I should have. Thank you. So during the November December presentation, where we brought this information to the board and to our community, we had presented the data that's in the blue portion of the graph, right? So we took a look at the historical data, and we came to you and to our community, and we said, and we mentioned that in the last 6 years, Calexico Unified School District has declined enrollment by 1,190 students. That's the sum of those red numbers in the blue graph portion, which is equal to about 200 students per year. We also mentioned that Imperial County schools, similar to the state and similar to our school district, which is the graph there at the bottom, also continues to see declining enrollment, right? The numbers that are there in the bottom graph includes all of the school districts in Imperial County, and we've taken out Calexico from there. So Calexico Unified School District represents about 23% of the student enrollment in our county, but over the past 6 years, we have represented 44% of the declining enrollment. So at an average, we are declining at a higher rate than the aggregate amount of all the other school districts put together. We know that there's a few districts out there that have had increasing enrollment, but the majority have had decreasing enrollment, and the numbers there provide that information. As Mr. Jimenez also mentioned, SchoolWorks has finished the demographic study. They shared that information with us. You will have a packet with that information as well. So in this presentation, we're able to bring to you what the projected enrollments are for the following years, 2026, 2027, and beyond. This is the data that the SchoolWorks has provided to us. And so as we utilize this data and we take a look at what the future holds for us in the next years, it looks like it's going to be more of an average of about 250 students per year. It's actually 249.5. I rounded up to 250. So we've been decreasing over the past 6 years at a rate of 200. In the future years, right now, SchoolWorks is projecting that we're going to be decreasing at a rate of about 250 students per year. Of course, you see there that for 26-27, it's 157, and it begins accelerating from there. So in this slide, we previously presented to you what the declining enrollment results in, or what the fiscal impact is of declining enrollment. And so we provided that information to you from a historical perspective on the blue portion of the graph. And then now, because of the SchoolWorks information that we have received with those projections, then we're able to make some example calculations. And you'll see there that the LCFF entitlement by grade level, we're using right now, just as an example, what would that look like if funding remained the same, if the entitlement remained the same. We know that some of these numbers will change. We expect our legislators and our governor and our state of California to continue to support education and for those numbers to continue to go up. But right now, we don't have that information just yet. So we're using that as an example as to what the potential fiscal impact is for this declining enrollment. As you know, Calexico Unified School District over the past several years has been working with all of our stakeholders to address the fiscal impact of declining enrollment, covering all aspects, right? Where is it that we can save money to ensure that the funds that we're projected to receive then are commensurate with the expenditures that we're projecting to have. Before I turn it over to Ms. Ramirez, she's going to explain a little bit more information in regards to this study. Do you have any questions for me?
The current 1%, what does it equal when we're talking about the millions? What's 1%?
What's 1% of? We get an average of about $16,000 to $17,000 per student. So
1.25 mil?
somewhere around there, yes. And again, this is an LCFF entitlement only, because a lot of the other funding streams that we receive, the majority of them are based on ADA. Enrollment is, of course, tied to ADA. We're talking about enrollment right now, but of course our funding really is based on ADA, not necessarily enrollment. But it goes hand in hand with the enrollment that we have for our students. And so some of those other funding streams sometimes are based on ADA, sometimes they're based on a specific grant amount that we can go after. All right. Thank you.
Good evening again. Before I move to the next slide, I do want to mention that prior to 1920, our enrollment fluctuated around 9,200 most of the time. So in 1920, which was right before we closed for COVID in 2019, in August, September 2019, we noticed that we had a little less than 200 students coming in. So we went from 9,200 to 8,972. So at that point, we started looking at, are we losing students? So we started doing some data analysis. We looked at our first graders going into second going to third, to see if we were losing students. And we weren't. And so at that time, that's when we realized that we have this new generations coming in, these new cohorts coming in that were smaller than the previous generation. And so that's when we decided to do this demographic and enrollment study. So the first one was in 2020. And what we learned is from this demographic analysis is that they provide a comprehensive enrollment analysis, and the factors that they use to determine our enrollment are birth rates, demographic trends, new residential housing developments, capacity in our classrooms, and then these same factors are used for us to be able to project future facility needs, short-term budgeting, portable management, attendance, boundary redistricting, and staffing projections. And so one of the things we wondered at the time is, well, how reliable are these demographics? How accurate are they? So the section on the top, I can probably do it here. So the section on the top is the one that we did for 2020. At that time, this was our future, the numbers right here. Okay, so this was for the years 22, 23, 23, 24, and so forth. So I went ahead and I brought down the numbers to our current study for 2025. And if you notice, they projected 8,587 students, and on that year, our actual enrollment was 8,572. So we were off only by 12. They were off by 12, right? The following year, they projected 8,370. We were at 8,353. So that's only a difference of 17. Then the following year, they said 8,160, and then we actually had 8,146, again, a difference of 14. And then on the year 24-25, they projected 80-22, and we were exactly at 80-22. So this is very reliable data. The one thing that they do say is these numbers might change if there's special circumstances. So then this year, we've all known and we've seen that we're experiencing issues related to immigration. And so they projected 7965, and we're at 7795. So this was an event that was at that time, we don't know it was coming. And so even with COVID, they were very close to the projections. But then this year is when we saw the biggest difference in this analysis. Okay. So if you look at future years, the projections are that by 3031, right here. So in 3132, we're going to go down all the way to 6,285. So right now we're at 7795, and we will be losing a little bit over or about 1,500 students in 5 years. Mr. Guerrero.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Romero Guerrero, Assistant Superintendent of HR. So as we look at the numbers, right, we look at the projections, right. We also need to take into account that the loss in enrollment and the lower number of students coming in also results in a drop in utilization of our facilities. So in this particular slide, what we're looking at not only the current enrollment for 25-26, but we're looking at the projected enrollment for 2031, 2032. And as you can see, it's broken down by school. And just based on the numbers, you can already see that the numbers for each one of our schools has dropped significantly, which means that our current utilization, right, which is column, it's over on column 6. You can see that our current utilization, it's already low. Some of our schools are below 50%. Ideally, we want all of our schools to be above 80% utilization. Right now, currently, we only have 2 schools above 80%. That's Enrique Camarena and Calexico High School. Most of our elementaries, with the exception of 1, are below 60%. Some are below 50%. But in 2031, 2032, you can start to see how our schools are going to be underutilized, with most of our elementary schools under 50%, our middle schools under 70%, with one of our middle schools under 40%, and our high school dropping below the ideal 80% utilization to a rate of 72.7. And so this information, it's necessary to review as we look forward to, as we explore the use of our facilities. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Guerrero, Mr. La Torre, Ms. Ramirez. Several months ago, Executive Cabinet, we attended a webinar conference with FICMAT and School Services of California. And, I think it was Capital Advisors and School Services of California. And so, thank you, sir. And this is a slide from the presentation where they talked about this situation happening throughout California. It says statewide enrollment has declined since the high mark in 2006, 2007, even with increases in intervening years. So, in some years we did see some increases, but overall, statewide enrollment has declined. The rate of decline increased significantly in the first 2 years of the pandemic, with the loss of 271,000 students, a roughly 4.44% decline in just 2 years. And enrollment declines have resumed their pre-pandemic pace. So it's continued. It hasn't improved or gotten better. If current trends hold over the next 10 years, a further decline of 661,497 students, or 11.3% in total enrollment is projected. The continued loss of students for many local educational agencies, LEAs, school districts, requires consideration of long-term enrollment trends, which we're doing right now with this 6-year study, and a collaborative strategic planning process in right-sizing operations and avoiding overstaffing. I think a key word right here is a collaborative strategic planning. The word collaborative is that we're doing this together, right? That we're having these discussions with our school board, that we're having these discussions with our labor associations, we're having these discussions with our community, our parents, as we're looking at what does this mean to us and how we could adjust to get ready for this, right? Should the projected loss in students maintain the current pace, future years will require transformational operational changes in public school agencies. And for me, the key word in that statement is transformational operational changes, right? We're not talking about minor changes. We're not talking about making, small adjustments here and there, maybe, cutting a little bit from this program or cutting a little bit from there. It would be transformational changes, which to me means major changes, major adjustments. So one of the things that was also discussed in the webinar, and that school districts throughout the state have done so already, are currently doing so as we speak right now for this year and next year, and are definitely talking about it for future years, as we're doing ourselves as well, is a possibility of a school consolidation or of closing a school site, right? As Mr. Guerrero just right now pointed out, we can't have a school with 37% capacity, right? With 40% capacity, meaning that for every 10 seats, and we're talking about student capacity, not office capacity, or we're talking about student seats in the classrooms, where for every 10 students or 10 seats in that classroom, only 4 are filled and the other 6 are empty, right? So it requires us where we have to, it's our responsibility to have this difficult conversation. On January 15th, we had a meeting with staff, with some of our key staff stakeholders. There we go. And that included our members of our CSCA leadership team, members of our ACT leadership team, and also members of our management team. And we presented very, very similar the information we're presenting here today. We also engaged in group discussions where we engaged in prompts. You know, what options do we see as we see the declining enrollment? Might we explore to address this challenge, to make the adjustments? If we're trying to make these adjustments and we don't want to see a school closure, what other ideas do we have? And it's a very valid question, right? Is there another way of getting there? And so we engaged in the discussion and asked for feedback from our staff stakeholders, partners in having these discussions. So as we shared with them at that time on January 15th, a few weeks ago, or almost about a month ago now, we shared that the next steps was we were going to have a follow-up with that core committee, that exploratory committee. We said our next step would be to bring this information to the board tonight, as we're doing right now. And then our next step after that would be to reconvene with our core committee, but then also start having some town forums or some town hall meetings to share this very important information with our community. So engaging the community is part of our next steps. Looking at the data, metrics, and information. So we're looking at the California Department of Education. They have a very detailed guideline on school consolidations and how to do it, and steps that must be taken, and some legal steps that must be taken, and things that must be taken into consideration, right? Like the conditions of school facilities. Some folks thought was the school with the lowest enrollment, right? You just look at all of our schools, and the school with the lowest enrollment might be the one that needs to be consolidated if that is determined that we're going to do. But that's not necessarily the case, right? Because you also got to look, if you have a school that needs millions and millions and millions of dollars in repairs and upgrades and upkeeps and whatnot, you know, that's a factor as well. So conditions of the school, operating costs and associated savings budget. So if we do this, what's going to be the impact? What's the operating cost for that school? What's our the savings that we're projected to acquire, right? Capacity to accommodate excess pupils. So if we do close one school, where will those students go to, what school or schools, right? And so what's the capacity of that school or schools where they would be going to? Special programs. Does a school have a special program that we need to take into consideration? Sometimes school districts, for example, put a major investment on STEM or technology rooms or whatnot, and put millions of dollars into a school. And so if you're looking at consolidating the school, well, that would need to be taken into consideration, because, like, well, in the past 3 years, we put, you know, a lot of money here, and now we're thinking of possibly closing it. I'm not saying that's our case. I'm just using it as an example. So that's what it means, like, by special programs, right? Environmental factors, balance of pupil demographics and disproportionality of school boundaries, transportation needs of the students, right? How far would the new school be if we close, you know, school A and students are going to school B and school C? You know, what's the distance? Are we going to need to provide transportation? Are we going to need to provide bus routes? You know, what would be the impact of that? Aesthetics and impact of the surrounding community of a school closure. Definitely we need to take that into consideration. I've been involved with school consolidations in the past, and we don't want our schools just to look as an abandoned, boarded up, empty building, right? We want to think of what would be the next steps for that facility and property. And impact on feeder school attendance patterns. So those kind of like the boxes that we go through and that we analyze and review. As you can see, condition of school facilities. We are right now, as we speak, conducting our master facilities analysis, where we have experts in school construction and facilities visiting all of our schools and providing a report on the conditions, the facility conditions of every one of our schools. But that's a very deep dive, right? That doesn't happen overnight. That's a very complex and process, right? So every one of these steps is something that we look at very, very with a lot of focus and very in a very deep dive fashion, right? And then after all this is said and done, and we go to the community, and we have a lot of discussions, we get input and feedback from the community. It comes down to making a decision, right? And then the school board will ultimately make the decision based on recommendations, right? And then depending on the school board's decision, then we will be moving forward with the implementation and transition if that ultimately is the case, right? I do want to make something very clear right now, that we are being very, very honest when we say this, that the decision to close a school has not been made at this point. That's a public decision. If that would have been made, right, if the public would know about it. And what school, if any, and if there's going to be a school closure, has also not been made, right? So we know that people are hearing about this, and it's like, oh, they're going to close my school. Or that decision has not been made as to what school will it be, because we haven't gone through these steps, right? We haven't gone through this process to consider all these factors, and based on these studies, be able to make the best decision to say, when it's all said and done, the school that should be closed, it would be this school, right? If that's the decision, if that's the recommendation, right? So that hasn't been done either, right? So we're starting the process. Community input is a big part of that process. Feedback is a big part of the process, and then coming back to the school board with the studies, with the analysis, with this information, and providing the school board the best report so that the school board can make the best decision in this very difficult process. So this is the kind of like the beginning as we move forward with this. Any questions?
Well, thank you, Mr. Jimenez, for that report. Very important that we, like you said, involve everybody, our stakeholders that you already started, community input, and again, it's just the beginning of the process, and I'm glad that you made it clear that no decision has been made, because there are rumors out there, people will ask and say, hey, there's a school closing. No, you made it clear, there's no school being closed right now, no decision has been made. It's just the beginning of a process, and hopefully it doesn't come to this, but like you said, all the studies have to be made so that if it comes to it, we can make the best decision possible. So thank you for this, and to your team for the work, and continue doing the work that's needed.
And if I can add as well, again, I just want to express my appreciation and say thank you, Mr. Jimenez, your team, and the district leadership team as well for, I think, just having these conversations, beginning this process, looking at the facts and the data, and also, of course, being transparent. Again, we have nothing to hide. This is our community. There's a lot of history here, right? Obviously with our schools and city, but again, we have to have these honest and tough conversations, but again, sharing with all stakeholders involved. So I do appreciate that, and as we begin or continue this process, just want to emphasize that as well. We are listening to our community, good, bad, and the ugly, everything, to help make the best decision for our town. In addition, just looking at the data and some of the numbers shared, I know we almost added a new grade level with TK, and that the numbers here, even though it's I think fully implemented, didn't make much of a dent. Right, we're still declining. I think there is some hope, and it did help a bit, but it didn't make a significant, right? So Imperial County, you know, I recall years ago, enrollment was about 33,000, 34,000. Numbers here are about 27,000 now, which is about a $7,000 ADA dip. So that's significant. We know and we've heard other school districts are also struggling with enrollment and having conversations as well. But again, I think we're here tonight, just thanking everybody here, you and your team, for sharing with us and starting the process. Again, decisions will be made, but again, we want to do this together. Thank you.
Just one it might be a long comment, but you know, I think one of the things that we have to take a look at it is that while we're looking to get all this information and make the proper decisions on time, you know, we also can't wait and prolong the process. You know, as information is coming up, we're gonna have to start moving on making sure that we have the least impact, both on the financial, on the staff, you know, over the period of decision making that is being made. So if we're looking to wait 2-3 years, you know, it's us just destabilizing it a lot more than where we're at this point. At this point, anytime we take a look at 1% loss, we're looking at $1,350,000. You know, if you're taking a look at the 25-26 to 2031-32 school year, we're going from 55.1% to 40.9% over a period of 5 years on reduction, right? And that's just the elementary schools. We're looking at 19,170,000, right? And if we would have to make a decision today on 19,170,000 and not over a period of time, right? We would be laying off a lot of people. You'd be cutting a lot of services and things like that, right? But if we're able to do it with the information that is coming in, taking a look at, you know, the health of the schools, what we're currently are trying to do, which is, you know, on the vacancies to have a least impact on staff, you know, and trying to get on board on that is those are some of the actions that we're currently are taking, you know, as a board, and taking a look and making sure that, you know, we have the least impact in a negative way on staff, you know, which in turn it becomes a part of the community component, right? And making sure that we have enough staff to protect our kids, to make sure that our kids are getting a well-rounded education, right? We do have to get involved in trying to get some of the new residents, you know, getting built here in Calexico, because, you know, that's what Imperial's doing right now. building homes, right? So we're at one point or another going to have to get into that component of, you know, how do we assist in making sure that we build the homes, you know, and attract families that, you know, could increase our population with new kids in each one of those schools. You know, looking at the redistricting boundaries, looking at, I think it's just kind of looking at all options as we're coming forward, you know, and just kind of making sure that, again, that we can't wait and prolong the process, and just making sure that we have the information to make the right decisions. And sometimes they're going to be hard decisions because we think it's a school with the history, right? Or schools that we thought that they were off the board, you know, per se, on our own individual thoughts or thoughts out in the community, you know, and those are things that just are again, they're going to be hard, but it's, as the information is coming in, we just need to make sure that we move on it rather than say, well, we're going to wait for this other thing to come in or this other thing, because what we don't want to do is be here 3 years later trying to make a decision when the loss has been compounded. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Contreras. Anybody else? Okay. All right, moving on to item C, comments from the public. The board will take any and all comments from the public related to an item on the agenda or any other item of district business that is not on the agenda. We have two. Yes. First, we have Ms. Norma Logmani. Yeah. Can you come to the podium, please? Thanks.
I'm new. Okay. Good evening. My name is Norma Lokmani. I'm an employee here at Calexico Unified School District. I'm a clinical social worker, and I thank you for your time. I'm going to take just a few minutes to provide you some information. I'm just here more in the sense of trying to be a part of the process. And you know, it's like I'm a little hummingbird and I just have a little drop, but I would like to add that here. And as I was sitting down listening to everybody, I came in with some ideas and I came in with something I wanted to present and talk about. But things change, you know, we get in perspective, and that's what I've been getting tonight. I do want to make this comment about item 12 in the agenda, which item 12 is about a resolution to lay off certificated staff. So what the information that I'll be providing is about how some of us could help in the process, not of laying off people, but bringing in, you know, we've been talking about expenses, we've been talking about decreases, and this is going to be about revenue. So if there's a way that we can bring a little bit of revenue, and that is steady revenue coming to the district. So what I want to propose is that we look at services that we're already providing to our students, and that we align those services to get federal reimbursement for those. So being that said, Calexico Unified District already has an infrastructure to bill Medi-Cal for services provided in an IEP. For example, services like occupational therapy or speech. Mental health counseling fits into that billing system. And through the local educational agency, medical billing, we can start billing for services. So that will be expanding the system that we already have working. We would not have to spend any more money into a new system. We will use the system that we have in place, and we would expand it. Counseling services written into an IEP are allowable services under Medi-Cal reimbursement. The LCSW, that's what we have here in our district, that we have other people that are in counseling positions that are also associate social workers or licensed clinical social workers, and that is a license with the California Board of Behavioral Sciences. So it's not a credential, but it makes us a qualified rendering provider under Medi-Cal. So implementation requires adding the counseling codes or CPT codes to the infrastructure that we already have. And for example, adding those codes and adding the LCSW as a provider. So what does that mean? It means that conservative estimates will mean that if an LCSW can do 35 intake assessments, that's what we call them, the estimated federal reimbursement to the district will be $19,000 to $24,000 per school year. And that does not include ongoing counseling services, case management, or assessments.
Ms. Logomani, can you finish your last sentence?
Finish it?
Yeah, your last sentence, please.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks.
So the last sentence will be that the LCSWs can, in the position of clinical social worker, can bring to the district about $70,000 a year. One LCSW full-time will probably bring about 70,000. You have two, that will be 140,000. If you add more, it will be more steady revenue coming to the district. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Crystal Casares.
Hi. So speaking of saving money, so we're collecting. Oh, well, I'm Crystal Casares. So we're collecting petition signatures in support of extending Prop 30 and 55. This will place a new proposition on the ballot to permanently extend the current high earner taxes for single filers making over $360,000. This will bring in about $5 to $15 billion to fund education and healthcare in California. So just if you guys can just make sure to sign before you guys leave. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have one more. We have Ms. Patricia Medina.
Good afternoon, board members. It was nice seeing you. Happy New Year. My concern is not related to probably the agenda. Just got the agenda. Didn't have a chance to see it before this before the meeting. My question is to Mr. Arturo Jimenez. What? I mean, I'm very concerned about this. That's why I came in to ask you directly. What are the risks of having students in a classroom sitting in chairs and having desks which are rusted? What are the risks?
Ms. Medina, I could follow up with you in a meeting.
Thank you. Yes,
date.
because yes, I'm very concerned. My other comment is, what is expected from teachers in a classroom? Is it expected that we do deep cleaning? Is it expected that we broom, mop? Because that's not part of my job description. Is it expected that we keep a classroom spotless clean? What is the expectation?
I could follow up with you, Ms. Medina.
Okay. Do we schedule a meeting? Do I schedule a meeting?
We will reach out to you and schedule a meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I believe that's all. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. All right, moving on to item D, consent agenda. All items appearing will be acted upon by one motion without discussion unless any item is pulled for separate consideration and action.
Make a motion for approval.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we got a first and a second. Comments? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Clarification.
Yeah.
Items 10 through 13 are resolutions. Is that okay? Or it's okay to approve them all in one vote?
Which item?
No, that's the other agenda.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're okay on consent.
We're good, yeah?
Mhm.
Okay, so just clarification.
Thank you.
Mr. Castillo, was that a?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Motion passes 5-0. Item E, correct? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, information items, superintendent report.
Thank you, President Avina. I'm very proud to begin tonight by sharing a major milestone for our career technical education CTE programs. For the first time, our CTE programs at Calexico High School and Aurora High School are 100% articulated with Imperial Valley College across all available opportunities. This means we aren't just teaching skills, we are providing a direct cost savings bridge to higher education. Our students can now earn college credit while still on our campus through the following pathways. In welding, we have a full 3-year articulation pathway. Auto shop, a full 3-year articulated pathway. Public services, a full 2-year pathway at Calexico High School, and an intermediate emergency response course at Aurora High School, and health sciences, an articulated course to jumpstart medical careers. Furthermore, this marks the first time that every single CTE course offering is A through G approved. Whether it is a college preparatory elective or a science requirement, our CTE students are now meeting the rigorous standards required for university admission. So I want to thank our CTE programs, our CTE teachers, all of our staff at Calexico High School, and Mr. Moreno, our assistant superintendents, and Ms. Gabby Williams, who's been a big part of this as our director of college and career ready. I'd also like to say that I want to offer a huge congratulations to Enrique Camarena and Willie Moreno Junior High School. We have been officially awarded the Gear Up Rise grant beginning this year. This was a highly competitive process. Last year, we joined a consortium led by the Imperial County Office of Education, ICOE, to apply for this funding. The result is a $12 million award that will support 13 middle schools in our region. This grant will follow our students from 7th grade all the way through their transition into college. I want to thank the leadership at ICOE and our very own, also again, Ms. Williams, who represented CUSD in this process. Through partnerships with IVC, Mesa, and San Diego State University, Imperial Valley, our students will benefit from STEM professional development, mentoring, and intensive college transition support. Next, I'd like to share an exciting update that we are now nearing the finish line on our Climate Tech Phase 2 Energy Modernization Project. Our goal of bringing all district solar systems online is moving forward steadily. As of this month, 10 of our 15 sites are now fully online and generating clean energy. 4 more sites have received their permission to operate from the IID and are in final commissioning phase. Mains Elementary, our 15th site, will have a final work completion over the spring break in 2026. We expect 14 of these 15 sites to be fully operational. This also includes the maintenance and operation and FRC to be fully operational within the next few weeks. Calexico High School's solar energy modernization project will be part and embedded within the Measure Q construction. I'd like to say that we will be bringing a report at a board meeting in the near future to share more information about this project and also to share the savings that we are already achieving through energy savings. We have Mr. De La Torre has it on his phone where he could see in real time, live, all of our meters and the difference between the kilowatts and the savings and all that sort of stuff. So we'll be tracking our savings in energy and also tracking our savings in dollars with these with our solar panels. So very excited about that and looking forward to bringing the board and our community more information about that. Finally, I invite all of our families to the upcoming Sparks Camp on Friday, February 27th and Saturday, February 28th at Jefferson Elementary School. Doors open at 7:45 a.m. and we will provide breakfast, lunch, and snacks. This is more than just a camp. It's an enrichment experience featuring ballet, yoga, and painting, cooking, reading, and STEM activities, and a district-wide elementary soccer tournament on Saturday. Most importantly, for families looking to make up lost instructional time, Saturday attendance will count towards attendance recovery. We encourage all elementary students to join us for a weekend of learning, fun, and play. Thank you, board members. That concludes my report for tonight.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Jimenez. So now, item 2, board reports. Mr. Contreras.
Thank you, sir. No, I just wanted to, we're at that point of closing the winter sports. A lot of our guys are doing very well, both on soccer and wrestling and basketball. Basketball got the IBL championship. So today, right now, they're playing in El Centro, trying to get that trophy back this way, the one that they dispute with each other. So hopefully we have good news before the end of the board meeting and they get that done. They've been putting a lot of work both on each one of those sports. I think, it just gets us ready to get our students, ready for the real world on certain activities and things like that. So I really appreciate the time that the coaches put forth, and teaching each one of those kids something that they love to do on the sports. On another note, we are taking a look at you know, a lot of stuff that we're currently doing in our community and activities. And like you just mentioned on the Jefferson Cap, you know, we're looking to see what we could attend and, you know, just seeing what we could do to make sure that we keep on growing as a community with our school district and in our community. Thank you.
Mr. Arellano.
Good afternoon, everyone. This past week, all of us had the opportunity to attend the ICSBA Winter Dinner, which was hosted here at the Calexico High School. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to everyone who assisted with the setup and to our food services. Like always, the food was delicious. Your hard work and attention to detail made the evening a great success. On January 27th, I also had the pleasure of attending a mock trial competition where our students did an outstanding job. Although we participated in the past, I know this is new. They did an awesome job. They did not miss a beat. I would like to thank Mr. Chris Lopez for the invitation and most importantly for his dedication to our students. I also wanted to express my appreciation to Attorney Mariela Barreto for her hard work in preparing our students for the competition. I know Mr. Contreras looked at my notes because he talked about the basketball team, but I would like to wish him the best in tonight's game, and I also want to wish everyone a happy Valentine's this week. So that's it.
Mr. Castillo.
Again, good evening, everyone, and welcome. And again, I think Mr. Arellano took a look at my notes. I sure did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I know. Anyway, I just want to echo again, thank you, Calexico High School, for hosting the School Boards Association, all the work that happened there. Mock trial again as well. As that wrapped up, I had a chance to visit the courthouse as well and observe the students. Did a great job, and Mr. Lopez as well. End of January, we had the CTE program over at the fairgrounds, and I had a chance to visit as well, to observe our programs and our students work in there. And this Tuesday, I had a chance to visit Central High and observe the soccer game going on there, the boys soccer, which was nice, knowing that the girls were playing here and doing very well. I wanted to share as well, I've had the opportunity to meet with the city of Calexico on projects related to county projects, our work outside the district. Specifically looking at traffic safety here in Calexico, specifically around certain schools. We had very productive conversations about signage, crosswalks, reflectors, digital, all that. Again, looking at student safety, as we've heard from parents, I've heard from parents concerns about speed of vehicles, drop-off in students. At that meeting, again, included city representatives, police commissioners, as well as Mr. Hernandez. We included him to represent the school district and bring that information back to Mr. Jimenez and the safety committee here. We followed up today with another meeting, and just pleased to share that the city was very proactive, listening to comments that the group shared. If you notice now on Heber Avenue by the softball field, the crosswalks there have been restriped. There's lines down the road now. There's a new sign for speed limit, 25-mile residential, because that wasn't there before. And there's plans to replace it with school crossing. Again, we know children are walking back and forth. Students are going back between Rockwood, 9th grade, and high school from the early morning hours all the way through the evening through after school programs. So that was always a concern, especially in the evenings when it's dusk or dark now. They also I've got pictures here that the city shared. They added new signage on the roads about school crossings. And they also, probably by Tuesday, will add those little reflector bumps on the road. Well, they'll research that in about 2 weeks. So they're being very proactive and very thankful. Again, this was just a collaboration with county, city, and of course thankful that Mr. Hernandez is there to represent the school district. We know safety is a concern of all of ours. For students, it's a priority at every school site and for all of us. LCAP Goal 6 talks about safety, and as we're having those conversations in our community and public, we do want that input, not just safety, but all of our goals there are very important, so we want to extend that. There's certainly other, I think, needs that were raised. between city and school about safety, you know, traffic and drop-off and pickup and e-bikes and everything, a lot of new stuff that our students and staff and city have to deal with. So we want to continue those conversations. Again, we've had conversations about collaborating with the city, and there's been some challenges in the past, you know, a lot of change and turnover, but it might be again a little more stable and time to approach that again. So hopefully we can have those communications and dialogues, not just on traffic safety, but other district or city issues, concerns, and celebrations. We know that what happens in the city is brought into our schools. You know, we're one. What happens in our schools goes out into our community. So it's very urgent, important that we work together. But I wanted to share that, and then just my appreciation for the district being there and listening, and the city. I want to thank them as well for being proactive. This was done in 2 weeks, and they're very willing to continue supporting, you know, the safety of our community, safety of our students, and collaborating with the district. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Castillo. Ms. Calderon.
Good evening, everyone. A couple of days ago, yesterday or 2 days ago, we received a rave on social media for being consistent in broadcasting our board meetings live. And it is something that we should be proud of. We take it for granted because we know it happens at every board meeting. But I do want to acknowledge our technology department for their talent, their effort, their skills, and the equipment that we have to be able to. We used to, if you didn't know, years back, we used to pay for that service, and now we do it in-house, and very proud of our technology department. And for example, today we shared very important information regarding the declining enrollment and the impact that it's having on our district. And it's so important to be transparent and to be able to communicate that with even those that can't make it to our meetings. So thank you, Technology Department, for that. And speaking of the Technology Department, AXA Admin of the Year, Karina Montaño, congratulations. Well deserved, and we can't wait to celebrate all year long on that accomplishment. Enjoy it. Have fun with it. Yeah. Also, we just approved the consent agenda items, and on there were the employment reports. And as I was reviewing them a couple of days ago, noticed a lot of retirement. Want to congratulate all of those who are retiring. I hope that every single day that is left in your work life, that they're able to enjoy it, that it brings them a lot of joy all the way until their last day, and looking forward to that next phase in life that we all work so hard for, right? So congratulations to all the retirees that were listed on both the classified and the certificated employment report. And just piggybacking on the mock trial, I understand that it was 10 years that went by without Calexico participating. So yeah, again, thank you to Teacher Chris Lopez and the attorney coach Mariela Barreto. Fun fact, she's a CHS alumni. So I hope we continue to support them so that they can continue to compete in the coming competitions. I believe Vincent is who took it. That's right. Yeah, Vincent took it. So hopefully Calexico will be able to take it in the near future. We believe in them. And last but not least, it's a 3-day weekend. 2 celebrations, President's Day on Monday, Valentine's Day on Saturday. Don't forget your flower arrangements for your wives. So with that, I conclude. Oh, man.
Thank you, Ms. Calderon.
I'll take a hammer and some power tools and
and Ms. Calderon did read my notes. No, just kidding. She didn't. Well, I also want to congratulate Ms. Montaño, for her AXA Administrator of the Year. Very well deserved. I had the opportunity to work with Ms. Montaño as her principal years back as both teacher and instructional coach, and I got to witness firsthand her servant leadership qualities, right? Always putting the needs of others before her own, students and colleagues. And thank you for the time that we worked together. You know, your leadership really helped the school and helped me as a principal and back then. So thank you. And well, you guys, we've said everything already. So thank you, Mr. Castillo, for your role, your work that you did with the city and writing the signage and the safety of the students and the streets right there by Rockwood. So thank you, very important work. Also want to thank Mr. Chris Lopez. He did invite us all, and I couldn't go, but I just hear the stories, and I'm glad that that was a success. Also, shout out to Ms. Molina. I did attend a parent workshop she had a couple of weeks ago. I forgot the date, but I did go there. Rockwood School. Rockwood, very dear school of mine. That's the school I attended when I was a child. So I went over there, and a great presentation. Ms. Molina and her team. They did a training for parents on LCAP, how to help kids at home. The different programs and softwares that kids use at home. She did a presentation on that and strategies. They had some cool raffles. I didn't get to stay for the raffles, but I saw the prices and they're pretty nice. So it's a shout out to Ms. Molina for that. Not a lot of parents, but the few that were there, very involved, very, very grateful, I could tell. And also happy to see that we had new tables there. The last time I went to Rockwood School was a while back, I think about a year ago. They had new tables, so that was nice to see. And that's pretty much it. Thank you. Oh, that's me, huh? All right, item F, action items. Consideration and action approval of the following items. Number 1, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and BMX Freestyles to provide students with an assembly focusing on college and career, student preparedness, and academic motivation at Rockwood Elementary School. Do I have a motion for this item?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Arellano,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Calderon. Any questions, comments? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Item 2, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and I Think Big Schools Assembly Corporation to provide social emotional support assemblies to students at Rockwood Elementary. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion with a quick comment. This is one of the areas on the social emotional support for our students that has an impact, a future impact on the way that they think and the things that they do, and moving them to being very thoughtful and social when they're making their decisions, and I think it pays dividends at the end of the day, in the near future. Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, so I have a first and I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Item 3, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Medic First to provide CPR, AED, and first aid training for CTE students at the Calexico High School. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, the first and the second. Any comments? No? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Item 4, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Pyro Spectaculars Incorporation to provide fireworks production for the Calexico High School graduation ceremony 2026.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second it with a comment on this one. I think for everybody that has dogs, I think sooner or later we need to start taking a look at what the cost is to do fireworks versus the cost to do the drone systems, for that purpose. And I think it's a little bit more environmental conscious for the future. Thank you.
So have a motion and a second, right?
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Item 5, award for request for proposal and agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Gelecom for E-rate products and services. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Any comments? No? Okay. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Item 6, memorandum of understanding between Calexico Unified School District and Right Track to provide coordinated student and family support services district-wide. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion for approval.
I'll second.
Okay, first and second, comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, motion passes 5-0. Item 7, memorandum of understanding between Calexico Unified School District and Dr. Ceja. Family medicine for student in Robert F. Morales Adult Education Medical Assistant class to complete internship hours.
Make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Any comments? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Item 8, rejection of claim, John Mendoza versus Calexico Unified School District. A motion.
Make a motion to reject the claim.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any comments? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Item 9, approval of the unrepresentative certificated, classified, appointed, and elected official salary schedule.
Make a motion to approve.
Second that motion.
Okay, any comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes 5-0. 10, resolution declaring the futility of public bidding for baked goods for the Nutrition Service Department.
Make a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll
Okay.
second that motion.
So roll call, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mr. Contreras?
Yes.
Mr. Arellano?
Yes.
Mr. Castillo?
Yes.
Ms. Calderon?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Motion passes 5-0. Item 11, resolution declaring Calexico Unified School District's membership in Omnia Partners and authorizing the enter into contract for Amazon Online Marketplace.
Make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second. I'll second.
Second. Any comments? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Resolution.
Roll call.
Mr. Contreras?
Yes.
Mr. Arellano?
Yes.
Mr. Castillo?
Yes.
Ms. Calderon?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Motion passes 5-0. Resolution regarding certificate layoffs at the conclusion of the 25-26 school year. Is there a motion to?
Make a motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Contreras?
Yes.
Mr. Arellano?
Yes.
Mr. Castillo?
Yes.
Ms. Calderon?
Yes.
Myself, yes. 5-0. Item 13, resolution regarding classified layoffs at the conclusion of the 2025-2026 school year. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve resolution.
A second?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Contreras?
Yes.
Mr. Arellano?
Yes.
Mr. Castillo?
Yes.
Ms. Calderon?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Motion passes 5-0. Public comments, closed session items only? None? Okay. We'll go to closed session. Thank you.